Whoa! It's not supposed to do that. SPC Maker drones have come with some of the best cases which have turned out to be completely useless until today. This is the SPC Maker 110NG and it fits perfectly in this case. This makes it their most portable drone by far. It also has absolutely top of the line components, but will it be any good? I don't know, let's take it out and look. This one's in here really good, and I don't know, there we go. So there are some twist ties here on the bottom that we're gonna have to pull this foam out, get those off, then I'll be able to take it out. It's always tough. I always feel like I'm tearing glue when I take one of these out of here, but they're just pressed in, and it's just pressed in really well. So if you get one of these and want to take it out, don't worry about pulling the foam out here. You're not gonna hurt anything. Now with the zip ties in, it fits in really well. You'll be able to carry it around with this, and these prop guards, which interestingly go all the way around, which is kind of unusual for one of these. Usually they just cover the corners, but it makes it fit in here absolutely perfectly. And the antennas, this has an XM Plus on it. It has a pair of antennas, and they are on zip ties and heat shrink, which a lot of people have been doing lately, which makes it nice. You can just fold them down and they will just be hidden. Has an XM30 connector, but let's look at the rest of the package before we go. It does come with two sets of props. These look like they're gem fans. They are, yeah, they're gem fan 4-blade props. These have been my go-to for a while now. We also have two batteries, and this is kind of interesting. Now we finally get the 3S batteries. So these are 3S 500 milliamp batteries. These are pretty beefy, but they fit nicely in this case, and I'm guessing because of the extra weight of this, we're gonna need these bigger batteries. Get some Velcro for probably holding the batteries in place, a baggie of screws for holding the props on, some more zip ties, some Velcro straps for holding the batteries on, and then what's I think is really clever, an adapter, because a lot of people might be coming to this from a 5-inch drone, which will have an XT60 connector on it. But these batteries are XT30, so you can connect this on here and then plug this into your charger, which only has an XT60 port on it, unless you bought an adapter cable like I reviewed a while back to be able to have all the different connections on it. If you don't, you just have an XT60, there you go. You can charge these right out of the box. You don't have to worry about that. But now let's get to the good stuff. So let's get a few things out of the way. Yes, I've seen Stu's review and know he had a lot of problem with his, although he kept calling it a 100 through several videos, so I'm sure this was the same thing. There's not a 100 and a 110 version. I think he was just confused, but I haven't seen the whole video. Maybe he addressed that. Also, this is really expensive. When I first saw it announced, I did not plan on reviewing it because it's over $200. It's like $250 list, maybe more than that. I'm sure there will be coupons to get it down to around $200, but it's really expensive for a micro flyer. And there are so many good options right now. I just couldn't imagine paying that. So this one did come from GearBest. When they offered it up, it's like, I'd like to review it, but I'm not gonna pay for it. I just don't think it's gonna be that good. I don't think it'll be worth it. But I'm really glad to have one to be able to find out, because it does have top class components. It has, you can already see right there, it has a RunCam micro built into it, which is nice. The ESCs are 28 amp, which is kind of ridiculous in this little bitty form factor. I mean, it's so small, but 28 amp ESCs, that will be able to handle 4S. I don't think all of the rest of it will, and depending on even where you look on SPC's site, some of it says 3S, some of it says 4S, but I think 3S will be plenty on this. 4S probably would just do bad things, especially with these motors, which are Sunny Sky Racing motors, and these are 1106 8000 kV or KV 8000. These should be great motors, probably too high kV for 4S for sure. Even for 3S, it seems like it's going to be pushing it at 8000 kV motors, but I guess that's what it came with, so we'll try it. Maybe I'll have better luck with the 2S. I don't know, we'll find out. As I mentioned, there's a FrSky XM Plus receiver, and the VTX on this says it's capable of 25 to 200 milliwatts, so it just this absolute perfect combination of components. Here's a VTX antenna just kind of sticking out the back. Overall, the build quality looks really good. Looking at the solder points, there's one ESC connection that I'm not thrilled with right there. It's okay. The wire isn't touching the pad completely. I was just checking through the screws and gonna say, yeah, they're down pretty good. And then there's one right there that thing is just loose. That is not tied down even close to tight. So definitely if you get one of these, and you really should check this with all of your drones, make sure the screws are all in tight and not just loose, because that one would have just come out. That one was really loose. The rest of them are not super tight. They could be tighter, but they're at least torqued down enough that they're probably not going to come out. In the process of getting this thing going, I've run into a couple of problems. So in case you run into this, I'm going to show you the biggest one first. I went through the config just to make sure everything looked good. It's not on Betaflight 3.2.1, so I want to update it, but I want to test it first before I do that. So to start out with, I wanted to see what the configuration was. It's running Betaflight 3.2. I want to put 3.2.1 on it, but I want to try it first just to see how it does, especially since one thing I will show you is under PIDs. They have very, very specific PIDs here. They're very unusual. So I want to try it with their PIDs just to see how it does, since they did customize that. So I was going through checking the configs. I got the radio all set up, ready to go, and it didn't work. I got no input at all. So my first instinct was it's probably the wrong UART. I checked and double checked that I am on serial-based receiver S-Bus, and this is a FrSky XM Plus, so it should be that. So I went and found the flight controller online, checked it, and you'll see here, these ports here are the receiver settings, and they're on the outside pins here, and I double-checked, and this is actually UART 6. That is not UART 1. UART 1 is on the inside, which is what you use for a Spectrum. This is UART 6. So once I went in and changed this, and changed the port to UART 6, then it was just fine. Well, I won't say just fine, it at least functions. So the next thing I did was connect up a battery. I got the batteries charged, and just to make sure that it works properly. So there we go, and I can arm it. And that, hear that? There are no props on it yet, so it's not a true test, but that just seems like a bad thing. Normally at this, it'll just sit and spin, and I can even turn it. It doesn't normally shake like this when I do this kind of test, and the motors sound really bad. So I am going to put props on it and go try it and just see what happens. I don't think it's gonna go well. Okay, so here I'm gonna do a maiden flight. This is where I normally do just hover tests and whatnot, but we're gonna test it and get it armed, make sure everything looks good before we do any updates. And wait. That wasn't what it was supposed to do. Okay, let's try that again and see if I can get it in the air this time. There, it looks good. Okay, make sure everything's right. There, it tilts the right way. There, it'll yaw the right way, and it forward, back, side, and side. Okay, so let's hover it. What are you doing? Nope. Whoa! It's not supposed to do that. It acts like something's just shorted out. So something is very, very wrong here. So what I'm gonna do in this case is, just because I'm gonna go ahead and put 3.2.1 on it and see if for some reason there's a configuration problem on here that sorted out the Betaflight is incompatible with this. Hopefully just updating it will just sort out whatever is going on there. So there's a link up in the corner that will go through another model that I did that should be pretty much exactly the same as this, and I'll be back in just a minute. All right, now with 3.2.1, let's see if it makes a difference. There we go. That sounds, nope. Look at that shake. Oh, what? See, it's just twitching and shaking and going crazy. It shouldn't do that even without props on. Something is just terribly wrong. So I can't even fly this at this rate. This whole thing's gonna have to come apart, and something's gonna have to happen. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna probably, I don't know. It's a shame. I want this to work because I love the design. I love the fact that it fits in the case, but it's kind of a disaster as it is. So I would say don't buy one of these until there's a good review out there, whether it's mine or somebody else's, and I'll link it down below when somebody figures out what's wrong with these things, because I know mine isn't the only one that's just terribly wrong. I think when somebody figures out whatever's going on, these will probably be really cool, but for today, it's just not. So I guess this is my first non-flight test. If you found this useful, leave a like and comment down below, and if you see someone who gets this fixed, let me know so we can go do that and then do an update here, because I want this to work. I don't want to just take all the guts out and move it to something else. And until next time, remember, if at first you don't succeed, try again, I hope.